Hi, everyone. So today I want to do a continuation of Psalm chapter 10 because there were some additional things that I thought were very interesting. So I'm going to share my screen. And this is, if you Google, oops, let's see, it's just switching over to the Psalms here. Okay. If you Google Psalms, then you will see a bunch of different pages that come up. And one of them is BibleGateway.com. And this is a very good site because you can put in here any chapter of Psalm that you want or any chapter of scripture. And then if you see this drop down box, there's like 60 different translations, Christian, Catholic, King James Version, all these different versions. So I'm on the New International Version. And I want to go back to the chapter that we discussed before, where so we're still in Psalm chapter 10. So verse 9. His eyes watch in secret for his victims, like a lion in cover. He lies in wait. He lies in wait to catch the helpless. So I focused on the fact that it says he lies in wait twice. It seems redundant because it could have said, like a lion in cover, he lies in wait to catch the helpless. But why does it say he lies in wait twice? It's to add emphasis. And then it does it again. The next verse, he catches the helpless and drags them off in his net. His victims are crushed, they collapse. So to catch the helpless, and then again, he catches the helpless. It could have said he lies in wait to catch the helpless and drags them off in his net. So scripture is never redundant. Whenever it says the same thing twice, whenever it repeats itself, it's to add emphasis. And so in the previous translation, I mentioned that it said in Hebrew, the word is ani, which means poor person, but I like this translation better, helpless, because the victims in this case really are helpless. And I see that the reason why it's repeating this same language twice when it's talking about the victims of these catastrophes being helpless. Who are the most helpless people in society? Babies and maybe elderly. So when it's saying helpless twice, it means that these people were extremely helpless, like very, very helpless. So that's what it's coming to teach us here. And then this is very interesting also, and drags them off in his net. I want to show you the Hebrew word for net. So if you go to, this is called mechonmamre.org. It tells you you can do any chapter of the Bible, and this is Psalms. So you can go through any of the Psalms and Psalm 10. So we were in verse 9. So this is the same verse. You could see the Hebrew side by side with the English. So you could see where it says to catch the poor, where the other one translated it as helpless. I think in this situation, helpless is a more accurate definition of the word ani. Okay, but then this is so interesting, you guys. Are you ready for this? So it's talking about catching them in their net. So a net is like a web of deception, right? But in his net is actually it from the word in Hebrew. The word for net in Hebrew is reshet. And bereshet is in net, and bereshito means in his net. But if you notice, you have the same word for net in Hebrew is the same word for Genesis. The first word of the first chapter of the Bible, of the book of Genesis, is Bereshit, in the beginning. So here you have the word Bereshit, but it's missing one letter. It's missing the Yud. The Yud should go between the Shin and the Tuf, right here where my arrow is. If it would have said it with the Yud, it would show the letter Yud is a symbol of God, because God's holy name is Yud, and then a Hey, and then a Vav and a Hey. So Yud, it stands for, or it symbolizes God. So Bereshit without the Yud is like Genesis but God's missing out of it. And then this is even more interesting, and bear with me, I'm getting there. So Bereshito means Bereshit, in the beginning, Genesis. And then Vav in Hebrew, the letter Vav, every letter in Hebrew has a numerical equivalent, and it's called gematria or numerology. So Vav is the 6th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. So if you go to Bereshit, the Genesis, and then you go to chapter 6, what do you find? Well, this is an article that was written by just a layperson, a businessman, actually, October 15th, yesterday. I'm recording this today as October 16th. So this article written yesterday is talking about, is Hamas in the Torah? And lo and behold, Genesis chapter 6, verse 11, V'temaleh ha'aretz Hamas, and the land was filled with, and then there's different translations for the word Hamas. It could be iniquity. There's another translation that's violence. And the land was filled with violence. Hamas is also sometimes translated as wrath. And then it's again in Genesis chapter 13, chapter 6, verse 13, Ki maleh haaretz Hamas, because the land was filled with inequity or violence. Ki means because, maleh means full of, haaretz, the earth or the land, Hamas. So there you have it, how in Psalms you have encoded different kind of future predictions of what's going to happen. So basically, like, we cannot just have in scripture everything that's going to happen in future written in plain English, so that it's very obvious. But things that happen historically that were predicted are hidden in the Bible. If you ever read Bible codes, you'll find that so many things throughout history, from the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin to, World War II, like all of the major historical events all around the world, not only pertaining to Israel or the Jewish people, are encrypted and encoded in the Bible. So then I also wanted to show you how in chapter 7 of Tehillim is actually the word Hamas. It's in chapter verse 17. So we're in Psalms chapter 7, verse 17. Hamas is right there. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violence shall come down upon his own. It says pate, but I don't know what pate means. It says, it was translated in another place as skull. So Hamas is full of mischief and violence, but it's coming back to them. The retaliation and all of the counter-terror efforts are not favorable for them or their people. And it really goes to show that they don't care about their people. All of the humanitarian aid that goes to Arab countries is used to buy weapons of destruction and used to murder innocent men, women, and children. And then the people themselves are left without the humanitarian aid. And this is not fair to the people. So I want to encourage people to read Psalms, and you'll be amazed when you see how everything corresponds. It's so timely. This is the chapter that was read in synagogues all over the world last Saturday. So in Judaism, every week we read a different chapter of the Bible. And it's not a coincidence that this chapter, these words, were read on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday of last week. And it's just uncanny. And I hope that you see the truth, that it's written in the scriptures, everything is ordained above. I hope that it gives people faith to know that that God is watching, that although God seems to be absent because we don't see God directly, that God is with us in all of this ordeal. God is here. So again, actionables are to do acts of loving kindness. The more that you do, the better. And if you don't seem it doesn't seem like it's helping, but the more people doing good deeds on a spiritual level, it counters the violence, and hopefully it could end the war without making it go into World War III with other countries getting involved, and it could get really, really messy. So please, everyone, do your part to do something kind for another person. Thank you so much for watching. Please share. Thank you again, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.